Bodie boy.
Got the GoPro going there?
Yep. Hey Miles.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
What do you think so far?
Pretty nice. Look at those mountains.
What do you think, Alex?
Well, I'm having a good time as always.
Well, unfortunately, because this rig is so new to me, I haven't had a chance to really figure out how to mount this Osmo action camera. And I just don't know how to mount it right now, so I'm just hand holding it and driving with one hand. We got Bodie right there. Oh, yeah, this is the right way. So we're in Alabama Hills. Got a late start last night, or yesterday. It's just a lot. We had some vehicle mechanical issues. 4Runner has some bad ball joints, upper and lower. So didn't get it all fixed, but kind of got it sorted out to where, you know, kind of trust it off-road. And then we had a lot of packing. I had to pack 2 vehicles up, so that's a first. So that took extra time since I've never loaded up the Land Rover before. And so, you know, we got in here at night, and it was, you know, if you've ever camped at night or looked for a campground at night, there's some challenges because, I mean, it's hard to really see a good spot, but we actually found a decent spot, so I was pretty happy with it. So we are on our way to Papoose Flats, and Alex is a little bit concerned with this one section. He's just not, you know, he hasn't done a lot of four-wheeling, so he's a little bit tentative. So I made it through with the Rover, and now I'm just walking back down to drive it up through this one little like rock garden area. Anyway, no biggie. What's the deal, Alex?
The deal is that I don't like driving it through these types of tilty locations.
This isn't that tilty. Here, you can film.
Yeah, all right.
Keys in it?
No, I got you.
All right.
I'm following the directive. I got your tires lined up so you could take your right tire on the low side. Hold on.
See you at the top.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think Bodie can get up that way.
It was quite the effort.
You out of breath?
Yeah, a little dizzy there. Oh, there he is. Want to watch me fall 600 feet? You would do well on YouTube. I mean, I'm not against the idea.
YouTube wants to see it.
Yeah. For YouTube.
What would you do for viewers?
LA Beast here. Have a good day.
So we went up on that one, on top of that one, and then we went one further peak back up higher than that.
So you went bouldering.
Wow, that just blew up.
We did. Me and well, whoever this is.
I have come for your bread.
We told him to wear a mask, but I think he took things too far.
Yeah, I might have. I bought these a while back, and I always kind of wanted to wear them, and I thought this would be a perfect experience. Yeah.
People are gonna think we're in Afghanistan.
Oh,
We almost could be.
yeah, maybe.
The Sierras are kind of a dead giveaway, but otherwise, we could be. You just kind of cut those out.
Good morning. So everybody's asleep right now. And Bodie's jumping up on me. It's about 30, 34 degrees. I've always wanted to come and camp up here with the views of the Eastern Sierras. Nobody's up here, just us. Love it. Just love it that way. Very quiet. So we're gonna continue on the trail, and probably gonna head down to lower elevation, and then head up into the Whites. Well, we're rolling out down off the map. This is about the time when, not far from this point, where I started to hear a squealing noise that progressively got worse. Well, this is the state of affairs right now. I think I grenaded either the rear differential or I grenaded the outside part of my axle on my rear left, driver's side rear axle. So I've got Alex in the 4Runner towing me out. The reason you hear this beeping noise is because I've got the center locking diff supposedly in neutral. Well, it is in neutral, but either way, it's just like I I don't think it's not drivable. So I've got the vehicle, on, so I have power steering and the brakes and everything, and so we're gonna get it back down to the 395 and get it on a flatbed and get it home. Okay, well, as you saw in the last clip, I was being towed by Alex and Miles in the 4Runner. And it's been months now. I mean, we're in January 2022. So the first thing is that obviously we got home safe and sound. After that clip, we made it, maybe another 10 miles, and we decided to just go ahead and stop where we were. We unloaded the Land Rover and locked it up and drove the 4Runner out to Big Pine and took a motel. And then I put a call in almost immediately to Miller Towing, and they're south down, I think they're Lone Pine area, somewhere right around Lone Pine. So, and I spoke with John Miller himself, and John Miller said, 6 a.m., I'll pick you up at your motel, make sure you've had breakfast, and be ready to go. And that's what I did. And he drove up from Lone Pine and picked me up, and he and I headed back out to where the Rover was, and it wasn't too hard to find it. He picked me up, and I want to say he has like a four-wheel drive S10. Nothing lifted, nothing overly special. I think he had like some mud terrains on there, or maybe even all terrains. But got out there. We looked at the vehicle, and the issue, I'll just get right to it. The issue ended up being the hub bearing assembly, and at that point, I didn't really know what it was. I thought maybe I grenaded my rear differential, and you could, when we jacked it up, which by the way, he brings a floor jack, which is really nice. It's really nice and easy to use. So we jacked it up, and we moved the wheel, and you could tell it was kind of bound up. So I removed the rear drive shaft, because if it was the differential, we wanted it to just maybe be a little bit freer. So I took that off, and he was like, cautioning me on like, well, if it's all bound up, you got to be careful how you take it off, because you don't want to, all of a sudden be hit in the face and killed by a drive shaft. I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe someone can comment, in the comments and tell me if that's a thing, if anyone's ever heard of that. Anyway, so he towed me out, and it was, I put it into four-wheel drive high, and the whole time, like, I think the neutral safety sensor, in the transfer case is just beeping the whole time. It's metal on metal, so, and it was leaking gear oil, because the seal was now broken from the differential through the axle out to the hub. And shit and stuff, it's smoking, it's gear oil. And it was really useful where he kind of was able to tow me out in some areas where there was a pretty steep hill. We got back to Lone Pine, and I'll say this about John: he's a very interesting guy. I mean, he's probably a multi-millionaire now from some of the things he's done. I think he's been there since he got out of the military, and I don't think he's originally from California. I think he just settled in the area. A real likable guy. Told me some stories, which I won't get into here, about other people and so forth. I think the interesting thing about his service, and what people don't understand, is that the moment he leaves Lone Pine in his shop, the meter is running, and it's running at $150 per hour on pavement. Once you hit the dirt, that meter changes to $350 per hour. And if we weren't able to get let's say the wheel fell off, and we couldn't get it rolling, then what would have happened was, and I think this is interesting, if he had to go and bring a larger vehicle in, like some kind of a flatbed or like a trailer or whatever, that would have cost even more. And I think my bill ended up being around $1,400. And at the moment, you're thankful that someone's there to help you get out of a sticky situation. Another interesting side note is that initially I tried to secure a U-Haul trailer, but here's the deal. U-Haul will not rent you for two reasons. They won't rent to rigs like this. Even my 4Runner, they wouldn't allow me to put it on their flatbeds. You can't exceed their gross weight, which I think is somewhere around 7,000 pounds. And also, you can't, they don't have a strap to strap down the wheels for anything larger than a 31. These are 37, so it just wasn't going to work. They were pretty nice at the U-Haul place in Bishop, and they told me about another guy that might be able to help me, and I think that's Bishop RV. And this guy has a business where he buys trailers, and then he puts them out in campgrounds, and then he rents out the trailer. So he's got a pretty cool service, and he had a flatbed trailer, and I secured his services. It was $600, and he was super nice. If I can remember his name, I'll post that because if anyone else is up there and needs him, I think he's very reasonable. He's a super nice guy. That afternoon, he met me. We loaded up the Rover onto his flatbed trailer, and he drove all the way to LA, dropped it off, I paid him, and he drove all the way back home. So it was a really long day for him, and I was very thankful. And I was, I was like, here you go, here's your money, thank you very much. So that's kind of the story of what happened with that. Now let me just speak to why things went sideways. Okay, the first thing is I took a vehicle that I didn't really have any drive time with. So I didn't really know what condition this vehicle was in. It was kind of a stupid decision to take it. I made the decision because initially I had this trip planned to just take my nephew Miles, and then we added Alex to it. And my nephew Alex, I wanted them both to go. I love them both. Alex has some medical issues, which kind of precipitated my reasoning for taking two rigs. And at this point, I'm glad we had two rigs. The 4Runner got saved our bacon, got us out. So anyway, suffice to say, we took the Rover, which probably shouldn't have. And so the other thing is that I put two young men into a situation that is really out of their wheelhouse. I mean, they've never driven off-road. They don't understand it. Alex doesn't know it. He was tentative about anything off camber, and I get that. And so that's another thing. I mean, I shouldn't have needed to rely on the two guys that don't have much experience. And this is another a case where it's a great idea to go with other people. That's why I go with John Uhern, my neighbor, because he's got a lot of experience. Probably, I really lost it in many ways, like when you get into these situations, and I had my nephew kind of sweating me about, being stranded out there, and so that kind of formed my decision making, or maybe informed how I didn't make good decisions. I still think I made decent decisions. I think I could have saved $1,400 and just towed it out and then paid the $600. But live and learn. I've learned a valuable lesson. Another thing that I think is a good note for me, I make this mental note, is the Land Rover wheel hub assembly is a whole assembly. It's not like you could just pull out and re-grease the bearings and put it back together. No, you've got to have the whole wheel hub assembly, and you really should bring a spare with you for just this reason, because when it went, it was done. I mean, I wish I'd had the presence of mind or had my nephew bring out the little action camera and film the whole thing, but I'll be honest with you, I was stressed to hear, and I wasn't even thinking about filming. I didn't even care one little bit. I just wanted to get the rig back to Sunland and be done with the trip. But I'm posting this video too because you can at least see kind of like what, before everything went sideways, you can see how nice the area was. And I really had this huge loop that I was going to take the boys on. I was going to go up into the White Mountains, show them this drive that I've done before. So I had this whole trip planned, and it was going to be pretty darn cool. I was even thinking of doing some Death Valley too, because you're not that far away from Eureka Valley and Lippincott, and just there would have been a lot of, I think Lippincott, Steel Pass, Decacara Canyon. I was thinking of doing some of that too. That was part of the loop. Anyway, that's pretty much the story on this trip. It's the first one that I had that went real sideways. I mean, I've been with John where he had a crack on his frame, and I still owe an explanation to Russ about how John knows when there's a crack on his frame. I suspect it could just be that because the vehicle's age, John's always inspecting it to make sure. But I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it. Every time I've talked to him, we're talking about something else, and I forget to ask him. So I'm going to work on that. I also kind of want to do a video walk around of his Toyota, because I think there's some people that would like to see it a little bit closer and a little bit more detail. So that's pretty much it. And I hope you enjoyed the little bits of the video. Sorry for the long monologue, and I'll see you down the trail.